All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Afternoon Bell. Happy Friday. My name is Ellen Desmond, and I work in the Bureau of Student Wellness at the New Hampshire Department of Education. Our team has been and will continue to join you via YouTube live stream on Mondays, Tuesdays, some Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 3 p.m. for the Afternoon Bell, which is really just our opportunity to discuss issues with New Hampshire educators, families, and students, and provide some supports for you all as New Hampshire learns remotely. You can find all of our live broadcasts as well as previously recorded sessions on our YouTube channel, which you are probably on right now. You found it. And we also encourage you to follow us on Twitter at NH Schools and on Facebook at NH Student Wellness, where you can find live morning coffee chats weekdays at 9 a.m. and a wealth of other resources. The department is also updating our remote learning website, nhlearnsremotely.com. So check that out for info about remote instruction and remote supports. Today, our topic is creativity in a crisis, how to harness the power of art to cope and create. I'm going to simultaneously wear my student wellness hat and my creative arts hat right now. I am involved in integrated arts and theater communities across the state, and I have a deep interest in the connection between arts and mental health. And really for the past few days, I've been settling into this routine of isolated living and working, and I've had creativity on the brain. And I felt this pull to create that's been, a lot stronger than usual. And I've just been exploring that feeling. And I've sought out examples of creative endeavors that people around the world are taking on as they sit at home. And I've just been really blown away by all of the trending challenges and collective projects out there that are going on in the world, some of which we'll share with you later on. So I reached out to my friend and colleague, Marcia McCaffrey at the Department of Ed. And so she's here with us today so we can learn a little bit more about some of the wonderful things that our arts educators and those who may not think that they are artists but are artists are doing in New Hampshire. And they're really encouraging creativity among our students and their families during remote learning. And so she's here this afternoon to talk about that. So welcome to the Afternoon Bell, Marcia.
Thank you, Ellen. So great to be here this afternoon. And thank you everyone for joining us in live time or watching in your own time.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad you wanted to start this conversation around creativity and the arts in the time of crisis. Of course, creativity and the arts are valuable at all times, but somehow in times of crisis, we really rely on our instincts to be creative and to share our thoughts and emotions through a variety of art forms and ways to do that. So great topic.
Well, thank you for joining us. So I thought that we would start off with a few foundational points that can kind of orient us to our topic. So first, I just want to impress upon viewers that, we believe, Marcia and I passionately believe that creativity is an innate human function. We're wired to make, we're wired to create. It's a trait of humanity that has helped us survive and has helped us, progress as a species over time. And so one of the examples that I've, been speaking with various project managers and district leaders and other community partners about, one of the examples that kind of comes to mind around this is the fact that the Renaissance emerged out of the Dark Ages. So, when the world was falling apart and there were plagues that were cropping up, people pushed on and, channeled that inner creative drive. And it led to one of the most profoundly innovative periods in our history. And I'm not just talking about the artistic contributions either, right? I want to recognize that creative thinking is required for scientific discovery as well. So I think that's something to keep in mind, not setting up the expectation that we are, heading into this new second Renaissance necessarily. I certainly have seen a lot of, this is what Shakespeare did during the plague, and you should be constantly creating and making and generating all of this. And We're not here to put that kind of pressure on everybody, but just to remind you that, a lot of creativity can come out of times of crisis. The other point that I kind of want to start with is that mental health, our cognitive, behavioral, emotional, and social well-being is rooted in brain chemistry. We know that neural function, that ability of a message from one part of the brain, to transfer to another part of the brain and produce an appropriate response. We know that impacts mental health. And, different disorders stem from different interruptions or deficiencies in brain chemistry. So we know that there's a link there. There's all kinds of research that's emerging on the almost medicinal effects of the arts on mental illness. And I would really encourage folks to explore that if that's of interest. And kind of a fun way, a good way if you're kind of academic and like, white papers and things like that, a good way to kick off a study of that may be reading that How Creativity Works in the Brain study. It's a 2015 study from the National Endowment for the Arts. So I'll definitely put that in the chat, and people can take a look at it if they're interested. For those of you who do not feel like reading a white paper on creativity and how that interacts with our neuroscience going on in our brains, I thought I would just play this quick little video. It's about 4 minutes long, almost 5 minutes long. And it focuses specifically around music making and how music making impacts the brain. So it's just a fun way for us to start thinking about how the arts in general also impact what's actually going on in our brain while we're engaging in the creative process.
Did you know that every time musicians pick up their instruments, there are fireworks going off all over their brain? On the outside, they may look calm and focused, reading the music and making the precise and practiced movements required. But inside their brains, there's a party going on. How do we know this? Well, in the last few decades, neuroscientists have made enormous breakthroughs in understanding how our brains work by monitoring them in real time with instruments like fMRI and PET scanners. When people are hooked up to these machines, tasks such as reading or doing math problems each have corresponding areas of the brain where activity can be observed. But when researchers got the participants to listen to music, they saw fireworks. Multiple areas of their brains were lighting up at once as they processed the sound, took it apart to understand elements like melody and rhythm, and then put it all back together into unified musical experience. And our brains do all this work in the split second between when we first hear the music and when our foot starts to tap along. But when scientists turn from observing the brains of music listeners to those of musicians, the little backyard fireworks became a jubilee. It turns out that while listening to music engages the brain in some pretty interesting activities, playing music is the brain's equivalent of a full body workout. The neuroscientists saw multiple areas of the brain light up, simultaneously processing different information in intricate, interrelated, and astonishingly fast sequences. What is it about making music that sets the brain alight? Research is still fairly new, but neuroscientists have a pretty good idea. Playing a musical instrument engages practically every area of the brain at once, especially the visual, auditory, and motor cortices. And as with any other workout, disciplined, structured practice in playing music strengthens those brain functions, allowing us to apply that strength to other activities. The most obvious difference between listening to music and playing it is that the latter requires fine motor skills, which are controlled in both hemispheres of the brain. It also combines the linguistic and mathematical precision in which the left hemisphere is more involved, with the novel and creative content that the right excels in. For these reasons, playing music has been found to increase the volume and activity in the brain's corpus callosum, the bridge between the two hemispheres, allowing messages to get across the brain faster and through more diverse routes. This may allow musicians to solve problems more effectively and creatively in both academic and social settings. Because making music also involves crafting and understanding its emotional content and message, musicians often have higher levels of executive function. a category of interlinked tasks that includes planning, strategizing, and attention to detail, and requires simultaneous analysis of both cognitive and emotional aspects. This ability also has an impact on how our memory systems work. And indeed, musicians exhibit enhanced memory functions, creating, storing, and retrieving memories more quickly and efficiently. Studies have found that musicians appear to use their highly connected brains to give each memory multiple tags, such as a conceptual tag, an emotional tag, an audio tag, and a contextual tag, like a good internet search engine. So how do we know that all these benefits are unique to music as opposed to, say, sports or painting? Or could it be that people who go into music were already smarter to begin with? Neuroscientists have explored these issues, but so far they have found that the artistic and aesthetic aspects of learning to play a musical instrument are different from any other activity studied, including other arts. And several randomized studies of participants who showed the same levels of cognitive function and neural processing at the start found that those who were exposed to a period of music learning showed enhancement in multiple brain areas compared to the others. This recent research about the mental benefits of playing music has advanced our understanding of mental function, revealing the inner rhythms and complex interplay that make up the amazing orchestra of our brain.
All right. So I really love that because it just illuminates for me how important, creating is, especially, as it pertains to music. And, I think there obviously are benefits too to just consuming music. But the importance right now of experimenting with an instrument, I think maybe a great time for you to pull out your old clarinet, I'm speaking for myself, and dust it off and kind of start to play a few notes there. Just, because it's great for your brain function and great for so many other skills, social skills, and just getting all those neurons to fire and communicate with each other and generating all of that brain energy. One of the quotes that's really sticks out to me in this video is that playing an instrument is the brain's equivalent of a full body workout. And I think for right now, I feel like I need to work out in a lot of different ways since we're, in this period of isolation. And so that's my kind of exercise is making music. Sounds fun to me. So at this point, I want to turn it over to you, Marcia. I know you're going to share some of the specific ways that, you're seeing creativity and the arts pop up all across New Hampshire and as we're experiencing this brave new world. So take it away.
Oh, there's so much to share. I really had to curate what's out there, both New Hampshire and a couple of national projects and even international. So we'll sort of do concentric circles. Wanted to just comment a little bit on Ellen's great introduction and inspiration through the TED Talk. I think most everybody right now, teachers have really found a creative spark to pivot so quickly and amazingly to a remote learning context. Truly, that took a lot of innovation and creativity on your part, and you felt yourself sort of struggle at that edge of can I do this? And then you had to really move through that, what might be considered a block, whether that's a creative block or a technological block. But you knew right now you had to push through because you had to reach your kids in a different way. So everyone right now, in one way or another, you're really being innovative and creative. And I think also finding that it sort of takes all of you to be part of those kind of changes, and which is why we're all really happy it's Friday, because it's sort of like also you need some breaks from all of this creative activity that you're engaging in. I also wanted to mention that some of the most successful programs with the National Endowment for the Arts right now are with their healthcare and veterans, healthcare and the military, really putting resources into helping military create music together, sing together, especially vets who are suffering from PTSD. And that's expanded into the visual art forms as well. You can find out more about that through the National Endowment for the Arts websites, or doing a simple web search. But it's all based on research, and it's really making a difference in everyone's lives. And there are also very emotional videos on the internet of elderly people, Alzheimer's, dementia, who connect so deeply to the music of their past. They become alive again, so that they can look in their eyes, they put on music, and they are alive again. So there's real significance in the arts in our lives. So in New Hampshire, we have got some amazing bright spot right now, and I want to thank my friend and colleague Julianne Godowery, who is now at Kimball Jenkins School of Art in New Hampshire, just recently stepped away from the New Hampshire State Council on the Arts. A really great program called Art is Love. And there are dates there, but it doesn't mean that it's only these dates, or you had to start on April 20th. But if you would click on that link, Ellen, and we'll take people into the website where you can get some more information. And Ellen will be posting these links in the chat as well. So this is a way to send messages of hope and love to our New Hampshire residents who are in long-term care, assisted living facilities, and feel so vulnerable at this time. And they're not able to see people, see their loved ones, or have that same sort of interaction at all. So this is a statewide project. And if you would click on this document, that you can see we have this list of assisted living facilities. There are probably 85 on this list, and schools and art teachers or community art schools have signed up to provide student artwork, either the physical artwork, if that's possible, or slideshows of the student artwork to the residents of all of these care facilities. So what a bright spot for us to bring the arts to residents at this time of need. Thank you, Ellen, and you can go back to the slideshow. So those links are available for you to even start participating or at a care facility if it's not there. But really, Art is Love. It also includes signs, yard signs. So there'll be a distribution of yard signs. So any care facility that is part of the Art is Love project will have a yard sign outside of their facility. So if you start seeing these signs pop up, you'll know that there's Art is Love happening right there at that facility. Next slide. Also a very bright spot in New Hampshire for 17 years has been Tiger, which is a project many of us know and admire Trish Lindbergh at Plymouth State University. This is theater integrating guidance, education, and responsibility, but so much of their work is also around social and emotional learning and helping kids navigate the challenges of growing up and being good stewards of towards each other and kindness. So if you want to click on the link there, we'll take a quick look at Tiger. Now, Tiger is a group of performing artists who travel from school to school. And if you've been in schools and you've seen a big tiger about this big displayed in their school library in the office, you know that Tiger has been there and performed. Well, of course, without school, Tiger's not out in the schools performing. So they've created a lot of videos. So if you want to click on the T for take care in the, yeah, that'll work too, right there. And we'll get a little piece of Tiger in action. This is about a minute's worth of introduction. So there are 8 weeks or so, 8 sessions of Tiger online right now, available through this website. And each one has a different theme. So T, I believe, is for take care. And you'll see all the themes on the website and be able to share these videos with your students or your own families. So after the minute intro, then you get into the Tiger Time, Take Care.
It is Tiger Time once again, and today is all about you. All about you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you. It's all about taking care of you. There's only one of you. So we have to take care of ourselves, right? Like every day, eating good foods like fruits and vegetables. And that's so good.
All right, Ellen, we'll leave it there. Thank you. You can see all of those options for Tiger Time. They've worked very hard to provide video of Tiger. So and back to the, go ahead.
They're generating new ones every week, right? So there's a new TIGER every week for Monday through Friday.
So back to the slideshow. So there's another New Hampshire bright spot, Tiger. So next slide, please. So the Tiger, of course, is for younger students. Artisan is for adults. So let's not forget, there's all of us who need to take care of ourselves in a variety of ways now and always. So Artisan, you actually got a glimpse of Amanda Whitworth, who was doing some Tiger movements there in the intro. She too has been at Plymouth State University, but has branched out to create this marvelous idea of wedding dance, movement, art with medicine. So it's the innovative programming delivers tailored curriculum to staff, healthcare students, and medical residents. The health and medicine paradigm often excludes the lived human experience in diagnosis and treatment. Art brings this missing and vital piece to capture the whole person, creating agency and power in the patient. Artisan applies crucial conversations to medicine, including personhood, physicality, self-expression, and mindfulness. Our goal is to bring the lives of patients to the forefront of care and help lead them to wellness. So if you'd click on that link, please. We'll go right to the website. So that I've linked to the education portion, but there, so not just on the home page. And thank you, Ellen. Continue to scroll down so you can see that they provide interactive workshops and performances. The piece on the right, which they're performing in an atypical space for a dance, is called Shadows. It's very emotional. It really draws the audience in. A very emotional piece about addiction and overcoming addiction and the struggles between a couple that face addiction. It's very moving and will be performed in a variety of spaces. So for adults, it's a great way to begin a conversation around addiction and depression. So just a variety of options there for adults as well through performing arts, dance, and movement. So we wish Amanda and Robin good luck with this project, Artisan, and a beautiful sort of that when I first saw the website, not only the image of the dancer with, of course, a capsule, but the idea of artisan and medicine coming together in that new word, never seen before, artisan. Back to the slideshow. And next slide. I did also want to take a moment to talk about a group I'm affiliated with on the national level, which is the State Education Agency Directors of Arts Education, and really delving deeply into social emotional learning and the arts. We have a grant from the National Endowment for the Arts for a conference, which has been postponed until the spring. It was going to be in September, but it will now be in March. But we really want to look deeply at that synergistic pairing of social emotional learning, really partnering up with folks at CASEL as well, which stands for the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning. They've developed social emotional competencies, which really cross over with the, when you get into education, you get into the policy and standards, you get kind of geeky, but the CASEL standards and the National Core Art Standards have a lot of crossover. So we're really bringing that to the fore. So there's a slide for that. And we'll move on to the next slide, please. Coming up on April 30th, so that's next week, is a worldwide day of gratitude. And this is a new group that's emerged, and it's called Unison. And through the Worldwide Day of Gratitude on the website, you can also access lesson plans. And again, there's kind of this blending together of learning from self-guided music education, which brings the social emotional competencies and music education together in one site. And if you would click on this link, please. What I wanted to bring forward about this group, whoops, next we are, maybe it's not working. Oh, there we go, excellent. Thanks, Ellen. Unison, we will see, is a project created by college students, college music students and music education students. So I wanted to showcase this not only for the Day of Gratitude, but also to show that really the younger generation taking the lead in bringing together arts, social emotional learning, and also very timely showing gratitude for all of the healthcare workers, the essential workers who are making our lives even run today at all. So we'll work on that, Ellen, don't worry about that. Let's just go back to the slideshow. So I called this slide, creativity in crisis. It's a one-day event and then some, and a lot more. So the college students who have launched this and are running this Unison initiative deserve some recognition. Next slide, please. So expanding concentric circles out from New Hampshire to a national initiative, Unison, and the Day of Lean on Us music campaign. I threw in one more. This is Creative Generation, and I brought us to the blog site. So if we go to that website as well, Creative Generation is international. So it's drawing from resources all over the globe and working right in the blog. Everything is very timely, of course, as blogs are. So we're looking at teaching artists as essential workers, creating future teaching artistry. Here's a great young South African artist unite to create the ultimate South African song melody. So that's a pretty fun one to watch. And again, they're saying thank you to healthcare and essential workers. Here's something from UNESCO, launching a global movement in light of the pandemic. Oh, here we go, Worldwide Day of Gratitude. There it is again. And the blog spot about the Worldwide Day of Gratitude. Really want to go there, don't you, Ellen?
No, I just...
That's all right.
Trying to get there. We'll see. Maybe it'll load. If not, I'll play around with it and post the link on in the comment section after.
So go back a page there on the C blog. Maybe back to Okay, great. That's where I wanted to be. Yep, keep going. And of course, this whole idea of keep making art at this time. So there's that whole initiative there, teaching artistry, and that's going to be a podcast and a national overview how U.S. arts education organizations are navigating COVID-19. So I just wanted to bring forward one international site, one place, and you can find a lot of interesting links for yourself as well. Oh, did we get the, oh, I know, nope, you've got a great slide at the end because it made me go right to the art challenge from the Getty Center. So that'll be a really fun thing to share as well. So arts for healing, arts for health, arts for well-being, arts for creative expression, Artisan. It's really all about arts as a medicine. All right, and we're in the slideshow. So next slide, please. And I think it's a handoff slide.
All right. Yes. Thank you. It's really wonderful to hear about just how all of these things are being integrated into, virtual classrooms. And I think one of the really cool benefits of kids being at home right now is that they're able to, show their parents what they're up to on an hourly basis. And I know that that's challenging for some parents and caregivers to make the time to do that. But I really hope that this time of remote learning also can amplify some of that family together creative time. So these are just a very, very few sample things that I have come across and have utilized myself over the past few days. Ways that you can consume the arts and ways that you can generate the arts. And so I just want to kind of go through these quickly, and they may be, well known to a number of people. So that first one is actually really something that really inspired me this weekend. So One World Together at Home is a concert. It was actually an 8-hour live stream, which is pretty amazing, with artists from around the world. And there was a 2-hour concert that was actually pretty emotional for me to watch. Just being able to get a glimpse into, Lady Gaga's house and experience some really neat collaboration over the airwaves. So, maybe taking a look at that, sitting down and watching that as a family, or even organizing a watch party. We'll make sure we get that link up there. Google Arts and Culture is a fantastic site. I know that a lot of visual art teachers know about it, but caregivers, it's a great thing for you to explore as well. Google has really taken the worldwide museums and put them all on Google Arts and Culture, and you can go in and you can explore museums, just see the visuals. You can take virtual tours. It's pretty amazing. And right now, Google Arts and Culture has all kinds of different challenges. You can pose like your favorite portrait and take a selfie. They've got just different kinds of almost like treasure hunt kind of things where you can, look for the parrot in this picture or whatever. So it's great for all ages. And as one of my colleagues said, it kind of, sets you up for like a virtual vacation. So you could theoretically hop from one museum to the next, in any given city and spend a little time just browsing.
It's certainly a visual holiday.
It is. I like that. And then if you're more of an auditory consumer of the arts, maybe taking a look at NHPR has a great live virtual concerts list right now that they update daily. So it's all kinds of different, platforms being used: YouTube, Facebook Live, different live stream platforms, and a number of student performances are out there right now. There are a lot of kiddos who are starting to create, lots of music teachers who are, compiling all these different audio files and putting them out into the world after mixing them. And so it's just a really cool way to get music out there into the world. So I would definitely take a look at those. And then if you are a theater kid like me, there are a number of performances by Broadway artists that are happening right now, which is a pretty incredible treat when you think about how much it costs to go to a live Broadway show. And that's not always feasible or convenient for families. But right now there are all kinds of, live streams happening. Andrew Lloyd Webber, for instance, just sits down at his piano and plays music from his shows, which is pretty incredible. There's no other way that I would ever get a glimpse into Andrew Lloyd Webber's recording studio or living room. So it's really lovely to see these artists and celebrities really kind of availing themselves. And they're all out of work right now. We're their audience. So they've had to get creative with the way that they broadcast. So if you're a lover of the arts and you love to consume, that's amazing. That certainly has an impact also on your brain activity and your ability to cope in a crisis. We know that listening to music, we know that experiencing awe, that sense of beauty that exists in the artistic world, we know that calms down, our nervous system. We feel that sense of relief and comfort, which is pretty incredible that music has that power over us. But we also, I want to just give a nod to those of you who are generating lots and lots of art. So just to touch on a few different things, hashtag Chalk Your Walk is a very cool movement right now. For those of you who are trying to get outside and do daily walks or runs, I encourage you to bring a piece of chalk with you, maybe draw something on your driveway or on the sidewalk. There's a great example. The Hudson Recreation Department has a Facebook page where they are documenting all of these. So take a look at that if you want some inspiration. And I absolutely would encourage other communities to get on board. It's a really fun way to dress up your neighborhood with some visual art. Other things to think about: doodling and Zentangling. A lot of us spend a ton of time, children included, on Zoom calls and things like that. So having a little scratch pad next to you, and spending some time Zentangling or doodling while you're in a meeting. It's one of those kind of, it can be very intentional. Zentangling certainly is very intentional and meditative, but even just having that motion of your hand, it can feel very comforting and relaxing, and you get a nice little picture out of it too. So it's just a fun way to keep your brain active while you're in a Zoom meeting or something like that, or a Google Hangouts meeting. And
I don't think we loaded these two into the websites there, Ellen, but I did very popular Doodling with Mo Williams these days at the Kennedy Center. So if you need some inspiration or you want to share some of the doodling ideas with your family, your students, there's a whole series of, I think there are 15, I think this was the last one, of Mo Williams and his doodling. So that was what I shared with doodling as well.
Absolutely. For all of you, don't let the pigeon drive the bus fans out there and related books. Yeah, quite a cool author and creator. The Front Porch Project is this movement to document what it's like to be confined to your home as a family. And so a number of people are either setting up tripods or enlisting the help of a neighbor from 6 feet away, snapping some portraits of families with could be their devices or in their pajamas or whatever, just chronicling this time right now. And so that could be a fun project for your neighborhood to engage in. The Getty Museum Challenge might be the coolest that I have experienced, and I have seen a number of really wonderful student examples of this. So I highly encourage folks to check this out. So the Getty Art Challenge, Getty Museum Art Challenge, is essentially taking a famous work of art and recreating it in your home with whatever you have in your house. And there are some pretty fabulous examples. So it could be anything from, like, this one's really fun, some toilet paper, calla lilies right there. It just really kind of captures how we're all kind of in our own zone right now, and there's still beauty to be had in things like Lysol and toilet paper and things like that. So I would highly recommend taking a look at this just for some good laughs, and then challenging your family to come up with your own Getty image. Nice little parody there. One of the really cool examples of kind of thinking through marking this time that some of my colleagues and some of our district leaders have either assigned or are doing themselves with their own families is writing a letter to your future self, or putting together a Corona book. So it's kind of this idea of a yearbook or something. So you're gathering pictures and images, and documenting this time in some way. We are absolutely living through a point in history. This is something that we say this all the time. It's unprecedented, but it's worth bearing. It's worth repeating, because I think it is. We kind of get stuck in this time of this is like our new normal or whatever, but it really is such a different experience than we've ever had. And it's one of those moments in history that as our children grow up, their children and their children's children are going to ask about. And so having something from this time period that was generated, that primary source document, now's the time to make it. Now's the time to build it. And then last but certainly not least, since we're all at home, I would love to inspire you to maybe try out some new recipes and recognize that the culinary arts are absolutely an art form, both the making and the consuming, I would say. And I know that there are lots of cooking and baking challenges out there, and what a wonderful way to incorporate some academic learning in terms of measurement and math skills, and just teach kiddos lots of different ways around the kitchen, different tools. You've got everything from, fine motor skill, perfection, to, having something go through a process and following a recipe and reading that recipe, and then getting to, celebrate at the end with chocolate chip cookies or something like that. So just a few examples of the things that I know are happening right now that are just beautiful and wonderful and sometimes yummy examples of art. So I want to definitely open it up, Marcia, if you have anything else you want to comment on this page here. I love this image. It's nice. Not only does it go with my color scheme for this slideshow, but it also is just really fun. And hopefully you feel inspired to create. But Marcia, anything else you want to share?
I think it's important to remember that through the arts, again, it's how we as human beings express our thoughts and ideas. So our thoughts are certainly with all of those people who have been touched with family or friends who have really suffered through the coronavirus. And I feel very fortunate that, I'm nestled at my home and feel very safe in my home. Of course, we're all looking forward to opening up our towns and communities again, and doing that in a safe and careful way, and seeing if we can create some positive social interactions while maintaining physical distance. But the arts are something we turn to all the time to help us cope and to reduce our stress, but also to express our thoughts and caring feelings about other people. So
Absolutely.
we're fortunate to be part of the human, have that human capacity to be creative, innovative, and expressive.
Well said. Thank you. Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you, all of you viewers out there. Thanks for tuning in. We will be back on Monday at 9 a.m. with our Monday morning coffee chat. So grab your cup of coffee and join us for that. And then we'll also be back on Monday at 3 p.m. with an afternoon bell session. So highly encourage you to tune in. You can find links to all of those events on our Facebook page, NH Student Wellness, and on our YouTube channel, which you're viewing right now. And feel free to check out our NH Learns Remotely playlist with all of the videos that we've already recorded with all of our guest speakers and with my colleagues in the Office of Social and Emotional Wellness. And with that, I challenge you all to go make something this weekend. Hopefully you are safe and happy and healthy, and we encourage you to be well. And we will see you on Monday.
Thanks, Ellen. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.